Hi everyone, welcome back to AFTV and welcome to another Transfer Daily Extra. Arsenal made another signing and it's Matt Turner from New England Revolution playing out in the MLS. He has come to join Arsenal and I imagine to knock on Aaron Ramsdale's door and say, listen, I'm coming for your number one spot, because the one thing that we've seen with our transfer targets is we're looking at depth, we're looking at quality. There's a lot more games coming with the Europa League group stages, and you'd hope Arsenal are going to get to the later stages as well. Plus you've got Carabao Cup and FA Cup. Hopefully we don't go out of the FA Cup in the third round again. I mean, Arsenal should be going deep in that competition, as we did with the Carabao Cup last year as well. So there could be plenty of games for him to play, and Arteta has been wanting depth. He wants 2 good players for every position. I think I've heard him say that before in some sort of press conference or interview or something. So Matt Turner's come in, and it's a sign of Arsenal being proactive, because this is a US international. We still have Bernd Leno, who's been in and out of the Germany squad for all his career, who was a number one before Aaron Ramsdale came in. So we've got 3 players there, but we're assuming that Leno is going to be on his way out and Matt Turner will become the rightful number 2 who's going to be challenging for that spot. But I'm no expert on Matt Turner, so I brought someone in who is. It's Chris Smith, who did join us about 4 or 5 months back to talk about Austin Trusty, obviously covering MLS for 90 Min. How are you doing, Chris?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much, and good to be back on again.
It's really good to have you back, mate. Just very quickly, since we spoke, you've actually been out in the US. You've been having some trips. We're going to Orlando soon, and we're super excited about it. So tell us about your trips. How was it?
Yeah, it was incredible. I went over to Charlotte for Charlotte FC's first ever home game against LA Galaxy. Over 70,000 people. It was a record MLS crowd, and the atmosphere and the noise definitely fitted the occasion. And then a week later, we went down to watch Charlotte and away at Atlanta United. Again, an incredible stadium that I recommend everyone to check out, and just a phenomenal experience. The reception from both clubs was amazing. The fans were incredible. Some late drama in the games. Couldn't have asked for a better trip, and I'm just a bit jealous of you going to Orlando now. Amazing.
Listen, I'm jealous of that trip. That sounds incredible. And actually, I'm really excited to experience sport and football. I know they call it soccer out in America. I mean, I imagine it's such an occasion. Let's talk about Matt Turner, because he's in the building. We've known about this transfer for a while, actually. It's kind of been brewing for maybe a good 5 months even. I think the first thing Arsenal fans want to know, and it's a really blunt and maybe not even the nicest question, is he any good?
Yeah, I mean, he's been the US number one on and off for the last couple of years, fighting with Xtra for that spot, and there is quite a few decent goalkeepers coming through now for the US, so you don't hold that spot down if you've not got something about you. And he's had a bit of a strange career path where no one picked him in the 2016 Super Draft, which is quite strange for a player of his quality, but he had a trial with the New England Revolution and got his deal, and after a couple of loan spells in USL, won his spot with the Revs, and he's just kicked on since then. In terms of his shot-stopping ability, I'd probably say over the last couple of years, he's in the top 2 alongside Andre Blake at Philadelphia Union. There are obviously, which we'll get into, question marks about playing out from the back and using the ball, but apart from that, really, he's exactly what you want, at least from a number 2 in the Premier League, and maybe even as a number 1, he can command his box, and he's a really good shot stopper.
Okay, so a couple of things you said there that I love. Shot stopping. Now, for any goalkeeper, I know sometimes people go back to, ultimately it's about how good you are at shot stopping and keeping the ball out the net. Excels in that area. Is that an area that we definitely think he's ready to slot in, potentially?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, in terms of keeping the ball out of the net, I would say he was up there alongside Andre Blake. I mean, he won goalkeeper of the year, I believe, in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, last season. So that tells you all you need to know about his quality. And sounds like a cliche, doesn't it, saying is a goalkeeper good at keeping the ball out of the net? But yeah, I think it's a quality in goalkeepers that is increasingly being overlooked.
Yeah, and it's a quality that, as you say, is ultimately the most crucial bit. But the goalkeeping role, I say role because it's more role than position, is becoming more about everything you contribute around as well. And one of the big things is commanding the area. Now, what I've liked about Aaron Ramsdale is Arsenal used to be so bad for so many years at, set pieces, not just attacking them, defending them. Now, we've improved on, both areas, and a lot of that goes down to the coaching. But I think a lot of that is on Aaron Ramsdale and his ability to just come and grab a ball from a corner or a free kick or whatever delivery, settle the nerves, and then go again. That's another area you've just pointed out for Matt Turner.
Yeah, again, definitely. If Ramsdale was injured and Turner came in, or in a cup game, I think you'd find a very similar quality when coming claiming crosses or sort of sweeping behind his defence, things like that. He's just really good at it. You're in safe hands. Arsenal getting a good goalkeeper.
Okay, interesting. And we mentioned the playing out the back. Okay, I think it's been covered quite, extensively that he's not the best necessarily at playing out the back. I think I might have even seen some quotes that it's something he wants to work on. But is it fair to say that also wasn't what he was asked to do? So is it so easy to necessarily judge?
Yeah, it is a bit of a difficult one because at club level with the Revs, he's been playing under Bruce Arena, who is quite an old-fashioned head coach. He's in his 70s for a start off. So, but the way he plays football is very different to how Greg Berhalter plays at national team level, and he's not really been asked to play out from the back as much as a Premier League goalkeeper would. That said, when he goes with the national team and he gets in one of the longer international windows where he gets more time to train and more games under his belt, he does adjust pretty quickly. And while I wouldn't say he's quite as good as, say, Zach Steffen with the ball at his feet, or maybe even more relevant Aaron Ramsdale, he's not as bad as people are making out. And I think with time under Arteta and playing with Arsenal, I think it's something that he could definitely adjust to.
Yeah. Well, the thing with playing out the back as well is it's not just about how good you are at executing it. It's also about the players around you giving the right options and all the moving pieces. So, when we signed Aaron Ramsdale, I remember there was a bit of like, really, Ramsdale? We want a ball-playing goalkeeper and all these things. And actually, when put and the framework around him, he was actually able to excel in that area. So I wonder if we might see a similar thing from Matt Turner.
Yeah, well, there's also different ways of being good with the ball at your feet as well. Like, I'll take Ramsdale as an example, who I think is a good short passer of the ball and is very comfortable having the ball under pressure, and he'll break lines with his passes, which I really like about him. But a fellow English goalkeeper like Jordan Pickford is regarded as brilliant with the ball at his feet, but more for those long passes that he can do, where he'll get Everton on the front foot, or England on the front foot, with a really good long switch of play. So there's different ways of doing it as well. But I think you'll find that in a couple of months with Arteta, and I don't think it's going to be an issue that anyone's talking about. Yeah,
well, he's going to. If we're going with the assumption that Aaron Ramsdale's going to be starting, he was very good last season. Yeah, a little bit of a drop off towards the end, but generally very good for Arsenal. He'll be the number one. Turner's going to have plenty of time on the training field, away from the kind of the media, the limelight, and all the pressure. Then he'll come into some, you assume, nice-ish games for him to be able to settle. There's quite a nice potential path there for him to kind of settle at Arsenal. What was his path like to the MLS? Because as you mentioned, it wasn't the most maybe not that traditional is not the word, but he kind of didn't have it easy, did he?
No, it wasn't straightforward. As I mentioned, he wasn't selected in the 2016 Super Draft, which is obviously the way that college players get into the professional game over in the United States. And as I mentioned, for a player of his quality, that's quite strange. But he managed to get a trial with the New England Revolution and impressed them enough to get a deal. Spent some time with Richmond Kickers in USL on loan for a couple of years, and then came back, got his MLS debut, and never looked back. Just increased in quality from there. So a late bloomer, but one who's really knuckled down and worked hard to perfect his craft, and knows that he might come sitting behind Aaron Ramsdale, but he came to MLS not even being selected by any clubs at first. So he's good in the face of adversity, and he's already mentioned that he wants to take that number one spot. He's not just there to sit on the bench. So let's see how he progresses.
Yeah, he's got fantastic character. We all saw that clip of the fan in a Tottenham shirt asking for a signed shirt, and he said no, absolutely not. So he's going to endear himself to Arsenal fans, absolutely. Do you know much about him in terms of his character, his personality? I mean, he's coming across brilliantly. Seems a really fun guy, but we're taking that off a couple of social media clips here and there.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I've never heard of a bad story about him, and you quite often used to see things pop up on social media where he would sort of be doing something nice with the fans. He'd be making time for people. That seems to be his character. It's not just a front. And he'd do it even when the club cameras weren't facing him as well. So I think he's already seems to be a bit of a champion of the people with Arsenal already with the Tottenham fans. That's a good start. But I think that's the kind of character you're getting. He's honest. He cares about the fans, and he cares about putting his best foot forward. So that's the kind of guy you want to bring into your club.
Let me ask you about one more thing, because obviously, he's competing with Zach Steffen from Manchester City, and it's quite funny because Arsenal fans are already drawing parallels between what Arteta's trying to do at Arsenal to what Pep Guardiola's done at Man City in terms of profile of player in certain positions. You've literally got two American goalkeepers competing, for the place as the US number one. Also now the respected backups at Arsenal, at Manchester City. But how is that? How would you kind of compare them? Who's the better one for the two of you, and how does that leave them in this kind of fight for the number one spot? Could you see Steffen maybe moving on from Manchester City? What's the dynamic there for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I know there's a lot of, not fear, but there's a big worry among the US supporters at the moment that they're going to be coming into the World Cup with their two main number one choices playing back up, and I don't think that's a situation anyone wants to be in. But
yeah, it's not ideal.
No, if you're comparing the two, I personally prefer Matt Turner, but that's just my personal preference. I think, as we mentioned before, he's better at that thing that the goalkeeper is actually ultimately there to do, and that's keep the ball out of the net.
Yeah.
And I don't think the difference in quality with the ball at the feet is that big where it really hinders Turner compared to Steffen. So I would personally prefer Matt Turner. I think Arsenal have got the better US goalkeeper there, but that's not to say that I don't like Zach Steffen. He was very solid in MLS for Columbus Crew, and he's a couple of mistakes aside, I think he's done quite well at Manchester City, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Chris. Well, look, just remind everyone where they can find you and all the amazing work you do for 90min and your coverage of the MLS.
Yeah, so obviously go on 90min.com/US if you want to read anything over there, and then at CJ Smith 91 on Twitter.
Amazing. Chris, a big thanks for joining us again. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, that was Chris Smith. As you heard it, 90min football covering the MLS. Go check out all this stuff. All the links and stuff will be in the description. Let us know in the comment section how you feel about the Matt Turner signing. And, I'm going to be very frank and honest here. I'm not expecting everyone to lose their heads and go crazy because we've signed a backup goalkeeper that I would assume a lot of us haven't watched play too much. But is there some real positivity in the fact that, yes, we've signed a good goalkeeper, and there's potential there for sure, but also that Arsenal have been proactive. That's early in the window, and actually we talked about this being a deal that was looking pretty much done back in January. The fact that Arsenal have gone ahead, got this done, settled. Whatever happens with Leno now, we don't need to worry about that, and we can focus on all the other targets and areas we need to address. When you look at that, how close the Jesus done is, depending when you're watching this, Jesus might even be complete and announced, and the Fabio Vieira deal as well. Arsenal are moving ahead, and there's talks with Lisandro Martinez, there's talks with Rafinha. Let's have a little look, but there's a nice tempo to the way Arsenal are doing things this window. Let me know if that is something that excites you and gives you promise going to the new season. Big thanks again to Chris, big thanks to all of you watching. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts and all that, and we'll catch you on the next Transfer Daily Extra. Cheers.